Hey friends, I'm Amy, a health coach here at Flip Your Leaf, and today we're going to talk about the mechanics of FODMAPs. So FODMAPs fall into two groups. There are osmotic FODMAPs and there are rapidly fermentable FODMAPs. And this is where we get into the FODMAP acronym, right? So we know that FODMAPs are fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols. And while the fermentable part gets a lot of, time in the spotlight because anything that sort of tracks down into our colon isn't properly absorbed is getting fermented by our gut bugs because these sugars are so short, right? They're short chain. So that means they're very, very tiny. They're very easy for our gut bugs to break down. That means that, talking about things that are being fermented is very popular, but there's a whole other section of FODMAPs, which are these osmotic molecules. And what that means is these molecules attract water into the bowel. They pull it into your bowel. So you're eating things, they're supposed to be being pulled out of your small intestine, so they're not, sitting in there, stewing in there. And for whatever reason, they're not exiting the system fast enough. So they might be being absorbed eventually, but they're not coming out fast enough. And while they're sitting there, all of this water is being pulled into your bowel. And so if you're sensitive to fructose or lactose or polyols, these are the ones that have the highest water attraction. So with all that water being pulled into your gut, you might end up with distension and bloating, which is that expanding of your belly and that pressure that you feel in your tummy when your nerve endings are, being pulled and expanded by all of that water in there. You can get abdominal pain, you can get cramping, you can get diarrhea, and then any of these osmotic molecules that aren't absorbed are going to track down into your colon where they're going to be fermented by your gut bugs. So this is where sort of fermentable FODMAPs and osmotic FODMAPs collide. So anything that's ending up in your colon that are these short chain carbohydrates are going to be fermented by your gut bugs. And some fermentation is totally normal. Like some fermentation is great. Fermentable FODMAPs are, like many of them are prebiotics, which are like a little lunch bag for your gut bugs. They keep us really healthy. And so we do not want to avoid bloating entirely. We don't want to avoid fermentation entirely. This is a really important part of our digestive process, but we do want to, avoid distress and discomfort and pain. And so, that is one of the goals of the low FODMAP program, is to take all of these out, so your body can sort of reset, find its natural rhythm again, and then figure out which of these FODMAP groups you're not absorbing efficiently, right? So not even correctly, because not all of these FODMAPs are absorbed entirely. Like not everyone absorbs all of their lactose molecules. Not everyone absorbs all of their polyols or their fructose or their fructans or their GOS, anything like that. And so, we're not expecting complete 100% perfect absorption, but it's, where is this threshold where I can't absorb enough of them to maintain, my daily symptoms. I can't stay comfortable in my body. So we're pulling out all of these FODMAPs, so the osmotic FODMAPs and the highly fermentable FODMAPs, and we're really seeing which one of these groups is not being absorbed correctly so that I can use them with caution, or I can manage them, or I can figure out where my threshold is for when I'm eating these foods in my daily life. So looking at the fermentable side of FODMAPs, we have GOS and fructans. And like I said, any osmotic molecules that are not fully absorbed. And so many of these actually aren't meant to be broken down and digested by our bodies. They're really meant to feed our gut bugs. I mean, I don't know if that was like the master plan for these foods, but what we know is when we eat these foods, it doesn't matter how hard you chew them, it doesn't matter how, hard mechanically your body's trying to break them down, they really are not meant to be broken down by our bodies, and our gut bugs have like a total feast about them. And so really these two groups are where the trouble is. Either we're having too much water pulled in or having too much fermentation of our gut bugs. And the fermentation part is a little bit more complicated because there could be several reasons that you're having excess fermentation in your gut, but that is for another video. So I know that that was a bunch of information to take in. If you're keen to learn more about IBS or the mechanics of your body or the mechanics of FODMAPs, definitely check out my newsletter. There is a ton of information about the IBS lifestyle, developing tools and strategies that work for your unique body. You get VIP discounts when I have sales in the FODMAP formula shop. You get an invitation to my private Facebook group. There are so many fun things that happen in this newsletter, and you should definitely hop in there. I'm going to drop the link in the description box below. But before you go, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You're going to get lots more videos about IBS, FODMAPs, and how to make your body feel like home. I'll see you in my next video.